Hello, I'm the real life fake wizard. Obsession released in theaters on May 15th, 2026, written and directed by Curry Barker. Produced for $1 million by a filmmaker who was uploading comedy shorts to YouTube 2 years ago, this movie has no business being as good as it is. And yet, here we find what will likely be the best horror film of 2026. I just don't see anything being good enough to top this. I'm the real life fake wizard, and this is a Fake Wizard's review of Obsession. If this video brings you any value, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting lots of reviews every single week. Bear Bailey works at a music store alongside his childhood friend Nikki. He's been in love with her for years, rehearsing confessions in the mirror and folding like a lawn chair every single time the moment actually arrives to confess his feelings. One day, browsing a new age shop for a gift, he finds a cheap novelty trinket called the One Wish Willow. The cashier mentions, almost as an afterthought, that some customers have come back to complain. And not because it didn't work. Bear buys it anyway, and after succumbing to his cowardice to tell Nikki he has feelings for her, decides to use the wish himself, that Nikki should love him more than anyone else on Earth. Well, the wish comes true, and she does fall in love with him. And that love escalates and escalates and escalates until a lot of bad things happen. The monkey's paw idea is one that is very well known by now. Be careful what you wish for. And yet, this movie takes it to a completely new level with something far more personal and far more devastating than just the wish goes wrong framework than it has any right to do. Part 1. These are people you went to high school with. Obsession works as well as it does because the first act makes you care about 4 people before it starts destroying them. Bear's insecurity, the rehearsed confessions, the cowardice when Nikki asks him point blank if he likes her, is painfully recognizable. Nearly every man watching this film has been some version of Bear, too scared to say the thing and too blind to see that the situation was already decided. He's very likely friend-zoned and completely incapable of reading the room. And you wince and cringe because if you're a guy, you remember being that guy a long, long time ago. Hopefully that's not you today. If it is, work on that. The supporting cast is relatable too. Ian is the kind of a jerk, kind of a buddy trying to coach you through emotional paralysis. Sarah is the one who actually picks up on something being wrong before anyone else does. And Nikki, pre-wish, is someone Bear has flattened into a fantasy without realizing she's a full human being with her own aspirations and complications that have nothing to do with him. These are people you went to school with them, or they're your coworkers, you grew up with them, they're your D&D group perhaps. You see all of these traits in yourself and in the people that you know. They are extremely relatable. Off the bat, Obsession does something that most major big budget horror films are incapable of doing, making you invested in the characters. Part 2. The darkness is the point. Early in the film, I had a complaint written in my notes that this movie is too damn dark, like visually dark. Scenes where you're squinting at the screen trying to figure out what you're looking at. For the first 30 minutes, that irritation felt justified. And then, gradually, as the movie continues, you realize that Barker is doing all of this on purpose. And it's, I think, masterful. The darkness in Obsession functions as a storytelling instrument. It keeps you uncertain about what you're actually seeing. Compare that to the Game of Thrones approach, where entire battle episodes are hidden by darkness just to mask some shoddy CGI. There are times that Nikki is just standing in the dark and all we see is a silhouette of her. Combine that with her unpredictability, and we truly don't know what's going to happen next. It's a great way to keep you guessing. There are some shots where you can just barely see her, and inside of that, there's this little glimmer that makes it look like she might be possessed or something. The visuals in this were extremely well shot, but truly, it would all mean nothing without Indy Navarretti's performance. Part 3, Indy Navarretti is the movie. You can take away the One Wish Willow, which is a very interesting device. You can take away the impressive visuals. None of that would be worth anything if it wasn't for the lead actress carrying this movie. Indy Navarretti, who you might recognize from Superman and Lois, is fantastic. Her performance is what I would describe as histrionic. And in this case, that is a great thing. Her enormous emotional swings are delivered with near surgical precision, shifting from tender to predatory within the same scene and often within the same shot. She's doing the kind of work that gets lazily labeled as unhinged acting by people who have never considered how difficult it is to be that unhinged and that controlled at the same time. There are specific scenes that I would love to discuss, but I can't because I don't want to spoil anything. And this is almost entirely based on Navarretti's performance. I think this is an award-winning performance, and I hope that she has a very, very fruitful career ahead of her. Part 4. The jump scares are a coward's crutch. Now, all of this praise aside, there is still one big thing that reduces this movie down from a 10, which is awesome, to a 9. And that is the cowardly jump scares. Barker built a horror movie that generates dread through character and uncertainty. This movie makes your skin crawl because of the very unique story being played out and the acting. The line delivery and the cinematography are enough to make you horrified at what you're seeing. There are 3 or 4 big revelations where your jaw drops and your skin crawls. And for horror, that's enough. Unfortunately, they also peppered in jump scares that blow your eardrums out, which are completely unnecessary. Worse, the jump scares actively undermine what makes this film special. Throughout the second act, you're trying to gauge what's really going on, and you're trying to hyper-focus on scenes to catch all the twists and all the clues. You're trying to really read into things. That ambiguity elevates all the horror, and it demands silence and stillness to do its work. Every time the film detonates an attack on the nervous system, it robs you of the mystery experience because it breaks your concentration. Just let the audience sit in the dread. Let them wonder on their own. Part 5, a word of warning for some of you. Now, before we wrap this up, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the serious nature of an abusive relationship depicted in this film. If you've experienced any kind of abusive relationship in your life, this movie is very likely to dig up those memories and have you recounting some pretty nasty things. In a lot of ways, that's the point. And it's done in a cathartic yet cruel kind of way. This is a rough movie. You should probably know that going in. Not that this is a trigger warning or anything, just that me personally, I had anxiety for 2 days after seeing this. Barker made a debut feature for $1 million that runs circles around studio horror with 50 times its budget, and the jump scares, along with a handful of minor pacing wobbles, are the only thing standing between this film and a perfect score. Everything else is operating at an elite level. This is a 9 out of 10. If you're a horror fan, you gotta see it. And if you enjoyed this review, hit the subscribe button, maybe leave a comment. Did you see the film? Let us know what you think. I'm the Real Life Fake Wizard, and until next time, create, innovate, and inspire others to do so as well.